Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions, episode 143. We're ready to wrap up the Tour de France. It's stage 16. And of course, we brought our punchers and sprinters to this one. The punchers have been amazing, winning all three stages in which there was a punchy finish. The sprinters have done, well, less. We have had a top 10, but they just cannot break the back of the deep sprint field. What we have left in this race now on stage 16 is mountains for a few and a couple more opportunities on the sprint. So let's see if we can do any better with the sprinters on this occasion. I've certainly given up hope on them a long time ago, but we are slowly getting better in the sprint department. Just still not yet good enough to be competitive. If we were racing Continental Pro races, I'd feel a little more confident that we could actually go and win a sprint. But with the world's best sprinters around us, it's just not been very pretty. Times all over the place with Van der Poel getting a podium spot behind Van der Hoek. That's definitely a breakaway victory there. Vingegaard is the otherwise stage winner. Godou, Martinez, there's Almeida in the yellow jersey, a minute 25 down. Brooks in 18th. Currently wearing the under 25s in the Giro in real life. And there is your overall. Wow, Vingegaard has overtaken the race lead from Almeida by a whopping 2 seconds. 49 to Martinez. Godou at 2:13 with Brambilla, Petrovic, Vettel, Arts, Leknasun. Pogacar drops another couple spots, now 10th. And there's a huge change in the order. Somebody lost either an absolute ton of time or has withdrawn. Paulus has withdrawn, as has Ethan Goodwin. Schultz, one of the last riders in the field. Not the Lanterne Rouge, but not far from it. Maccabee also way down there. In fact, pretty much our whole team is in that bottom about 55, 60 riders until you get to Clote, Musa, and De Villiers, 29th. 17, another stage in the mountains, another opportunity for those GC favorites to swap places. Vingegaard continuing to look strongest here late in the race. Almeida just 18th today, losing a minute. He's really struggling here in these final days. Martinez moves into second. Almeida is gone from first to third in 2 stages. Still just a minute down, though. Not huge gaps. I mean, it's 5 minutes from first to 10th. 18, final mountain stage of this race. Final big opportunity to swap positions. Vingegaard a minute down, losing a little bit of time today, including to Martinez. Have we seen a change? Almeida there at a minute 20, by the way. And we have Lenny Martinez into the race lead after climbing up the Obelisk. How to come huge stage, right? So Martinez 15 seconds ahead, very much in play. Vingegaard's going to have a huge advantage for the time trial, though, at the end. But Brambilla jumps from 5th to 3rd. That was stage win, was it? Yes, it was. Almeida off the podium entirely, with Godou down to 5th. For the time trial to come, certainly the top 6 are a little bit in play still. And then that massive gap again right after the top 10. And Musa is our highest placed guy at 37th after all those mountain stages. So heading into stage 19, penultimate sprint stage of the race. Clote, nowhere near his fitness peak, +2 expected, and he's the only guy who's looking decently fresh at this point, right? Stage 19. Usually, by now, things are really bad. Daniels is very bad on the freshness, but he's got a +4 on the fitness peak. Balance, we'll see how that one goes. But De Villiers is bad. Very bad for Kareem, but +3. Maccabee has a +3, so we do have both sprinters in play now, expected +7 between them, but both are very bad on the freshness. Mediocre for Musa, and Schultz hanging out in that negative territory, or, well, not negative, but 0 territory with a very bad freshness. Morale's high, motivation's average. The only one that's bad on fitness right now is Kareem. might see a little bit of a knock on his, even on whatever he ends up getting, as he is pretty fatigued by this point. 10th is De Villiers in the points classification, so we're not in play for that. We're literally just going to try to go for a sprint victory. The impossible task, right? Giving 17 riders a near 10-minute advantage. And now 11. It's looking like this is a day for the breakaway, which you would not think on a sprint stage. The sprint teams never let it get to that, but here they are. With 12 and a half minutes, it looks like it's going to be near impossible to pull these guys back, and we're not in that actual competition, are we? I don't think so. So it looks like it's a day for the breakaway, and we're going to be looking to the Champs-Élysées here momentarily. Coming up, final 4K of the stage, and we are not yet even in position. 2.5K to go. Just trying to get the guys to ride forward. 1.4K. And we never did get through the group, and it doesn't matter because the breakaway, final grouping of the breakaway won by a lot. They were 14 minutes ahead in the end. So, waste of a day. Very similar to what we just saw in real life at the Giro just a couple days back. Tour de France now headed to stage 20 and a just shy of 40K kilometer time trial, individual time trial here to finally decide with the length and how close the field is. I'd say the top 6 are all in play for a top position. The other 4 of the top 10 are a little bit too far down, but certainly close enough to compete for a top 5. Maybe one of them squeeze into the podium, but we're so far out of it. No point doing anything here, so the quick sim it is. Pogacar has won the stage ahead of Aragabe, and we are Clout 34th on the stage. He was right about that overall. Vingegaard moves back into the race lead and will win the Tour de France with just Perry left. Brambilla is now 2nd. Almeida back onto the podium, but just 3rd. And Martinez, who's not a good time trialist, he's a climber through and through, 66 for his time trial, drops off the podium completely. That is so disappointing for him. And La Gruppetto, equally disappointing in that Gaudu, ends up finishing 9 seconds behind him, doing pretty damn bad as well. 34 years of age now. Pogacar back up to 6th in the last couple stages, and shocking that you have 2 riders on same time after so many kilometers have been traversed. Evenepoel is 8th, Petrovic drops to 9th, and Leknesund wraps out that top 10 just where he started the day. And our highest finisher will be Musa in 40th. Our points have definitely, without a doubt, come from the stage wins, which is actually going to be a much better haul of points than we're used to getting for taking like 6th overall. We're going to get more points than Pogacar individually, we as a team. But with Luke Plapp in 18th, I think we're getting more points than his Saitos team. They really didn't waste much time on this edition of the Tour de France of getting into the circuit around the Champs-Élysées, and that makes it short, makes it sweet, makes it simple. We're only going to have to get water a single time, and we can go ahead and knock that out right now. And we're halfway through the final stage. Yeah, race day condition came out almost identical to what it was on the sprint a couple days ago. So Daniels has a +3, Maccabee has a +5, but even with a +5, like, 81 sprint. Well, I mean, the 80 sprint's part nice, but it's only a +2 to acceleration. It's +5 to the mountain ones. I could use, a +4, +5 to the acceleration, and I'd feel more confident that he could do something. Stamina resistance are better. It does make us better. It certainly doesn't hurt us, but it doesn't help us the way it helps, like, say, a climber. So 19K to go. We are going to want to set up our sprint train early on this one. It's high tempo. The guys are really kind of pushing along, and it's really easy to get caught out. But just as one would expect, no 15-minute breakaway today. Sprinters want it. Apparently they didn't want stage 19, but they certainly want this one. So instead of getting 2 shots at it, we only get 1, and it's the hardest one. It is the hardest one because, I mean, you can already see them. This is sprint teams already in control,
already at the helm, pulling from the front. This is the hardest race to win. I've won it, and I've won it with a weak sprinter before a couple of years ago. Uh, I have an idea on where that can happen, but they're looking pretty dang organized right now with 13.4K to go. All right, so we're going to have De Villiers lead us out, bring us out there, get us into a competitive stance, but it's already just inside 12K. He has gotten us towards the front, but of course that's with more team members than what the other sprinters around us have as we come up on the 10K banner. Coming through 8.5, and we're kind of getting into that zone where we want to make a push. If there's going to be a push, this is going to be the place where it happens. So pushing from here, 7K to go. Schultz getting out of the way onto Clote. We're not even up at the front, unfortunately. This is where I would like to do something, but it's just not happening. 5.4K. That last little push, those sprinters are lagging behind. That last hill, Clote's done on Musa. 4K. We're getting back out front, but our sprinters don't have a ton in them, and actually we really are getting out front onto Kareem. 2.6. 2K. We have to sprint early. There's no way you can win otherwise. So Daniels, Maccabee inside the final kilometer. He's certainly got a good run, and he's on the wheel of some others, but red bar's gone, and he was on their wheel anyway without the top speed that they have, so he was not going to win against these guys today, but I was hoping he would have cracked the top 10. He comes up a bit short of even that. 13th. We can't even beat Vingegaard in a sprint. Alga has taken the win ahead of Winter. Koi, I've been calling him Koish forever. I see him on top 10 lists from time to time, but he never performs well enough to even get his name mentioned. And so him finally coming through and winning a sprint at the Giro has had his name pop up into my ear for the first time. So the J is totally silent. Today he only managed to get 40th. He was a lead-out rider for Lotto Destiny's team for Caleb Ewan, who ended up finishing 6th. But as a lead-out rider, he really shouldn't have been that far down. Our lead-out rider, Daniels, was 20th. Maccabee, 13th. That's going to do it for this race, though. Vingegaard has claimed the overall victory. Of course, we were totally out of it. The points, it's Philipsen who has won the points classification just ahead of Winter. Winter came on strong with second place. Looks like a win might have done it. But Alga, who did get the win today, brings himself closer. If those two were reversed, I do think Winter might have had enough. But it's Philipsen with the points jersey ahead of Pedersen, Pogacar, Vingegaard, Van der Poel. De Villiers ends up 12th with a couple stage wins. Punchy ones though, so not maximum points. Arts has won the KOM just ahead of Martinez Gaudu, so it came down largely to GC guys and not necessarily an individual. Musa was 5th in the Young Riders classification after Clote had that huge double fall and lost, 16 minutes in one stage. But even if you take 16 minutes away from this, looks like he's still about 4th with Alberti taking the win. However, things might have been different, of course, if he was still in contention on how the team would have ridden for him. He might have been able to claim it. Alberti was only 19th overall, 21 minutes down. I think, for one thing, if I was controlling the team throughout the 21 stages, as opposed to condensing it into 3 briefer stages, I think I easily could have, from the position we were in, kept things going for Clote. But of course, that big double fall was hugely costly, and he lost a ton of time, and it was on a stage we were playing. Now, if I had been taking things seriously about his position, I would have dropped riders back immediately to help him after that first fall. He would have had more energy left. After the second fall, I again would have given him additional support, and therefore he wouldn't have emptied out so fast. He still would have lost time that day. That double fall would have been some serious time losses, and with a base 72, 74, 78, he's not climbing his way competitively. He lost 40 minutes in this race to the overall race winner. I think we could have cut that down to 20 because he had good race day condition every day. He was, his fitness peak was perfectly timed. And so he had, big bonuses every day. He wasn't a 72 mountain every day. He was a 75 to 77, 78 mountain every day. Apt for being 40 minutes down. But he was well positioned because of our successes in a couple of the stages that put him in a place where he was wearing a jersey that was wide open. There's no quality here. Stalker's great. How was he down in that? I don't know. Delorme is great. How was he down? Alberti, they all should have been well ahead of us. They probably would have eventually been ahead of us. But, even Musa was only 15 minutes down with a 66 media mountain. That's grounds for losing tons of time. And they didn't necessarily. But that's when you quick sim and you have a leader and they're protected and they're not going to lose as much time trying to get to the end as they would in other circumstances. But anyway, GC was not to be for us, largely coming down to that double full and, of course, that combination of just, hey, we did not really try for it. But team classification, 17th. And that was where this team was as climbers. Just totally out of it. But you can see the real gap is those bottom few teams didn't come for that purpose. Lotto Destiny had a lot of sprinters. They were here for that. As for the other ones, I don't know what their deal was, but that's the weakest performance we've ever seen from our team. But however, with the goals that we came in, we far exceeded them. We won 3 stages at this tour. We should have picked up multiple points for the nation of Tunisia, but game left us hanging high and dry once again on that one. That's going to do it for this Tour de France, and that means that's going to do it for this episode. Next up for me is, I believe, signing day, which is really just going to come down to re-signing all of our expiring contracts. There's not really anybody else to bring in except for maybe one face, but at this point, we want to re-sign all of our guys first and go from there, which means we've got the same team heading into next season, theoretically. But there's one rider in particular who has leveled up rapidly in the last under 1 year, and he could be costly. He has not earned the name recognition yet, so he might still be relatively affordable. Maybe. Fingers crossed. We'll find out. Not that it matters with the series coming to an end at the end of the season, but it would still matter theoretically to the team, right? You don't want to leave it in disarray. You don't want to hand the reins off to the dream world in shambles. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.